What if there was a home backup power solution that was more powerful than anything else on the market, was less expensive to install, switched over faster in the event of an outage, and you could take it with you when you move to a new house? This is the Ecoflow Delta Pro Ultra, and this is the Ecoflow Smart Home Panel 2, and I've just installed them in my house as my home backup power solution. But I do have to say right off the bat, I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, I'm just bummed. I had this whole video planned out. I was gonna be working somewhere in the house and it would be storming outside and it would be dark and heavy rain and thunder and lightning, and I would be concerned. And then I would look out the window and I would think, oh no, what if the power goes out? And then the power would go out. And then all of a sudden, the power would cut back on. And I would be like, wow, look how fast that Ecoflow Delta Pro Ultra kicked in. Problem is, I'm just gonna cut the power and we're gonna see how fast the power comes back on by watching that light. Did you see that? Did you see that millisecond of a flicker? It kicks in so fast, you can't even tell that the power went out. So the whole intro to my video was blown. That's okay, this thing's freaking awesome. Let me go over some of the specs about it. Just to be clear, Ecoflow sent me this to review. As it sits here, it's capable of up to 10,800 watts of peak power, 7,200 watts of continuous power, and 6,000 watt hours of battery. But it's capable of so much more, like 90,000 watt hours and 21,600 watts of continuous power when you stack up to 15 batteries and 3 inverters. I'm going to refer to this as the starter configuration for the Delta Pro Ultra, and it consists of the battery on the bottom and the inverter on top. And even as it sits here, you still get 120 volts or 240 volts. It's a super streamlined way of adding monster backup power to your home, but honestly, when you're talking about 90,000 watt hours, you're probably in primary power, once you pair it with solar panels. Now this is being filmed before we install this in my home, which is perfect because you don't have to install this. That's one of the great things about I'm gonna call it the DPU, the Delta Pro Ultra, okay? One of the things that makes it so unique is that you can install this and keep this as a permanent backup power for your home, or you can keep it mobile and take it wherever you need to go. Currently, I have this on the available dolly, which makes it super easy to roll around, and it's really well designed. I like it. If you don't plan on rolling your DPU around, it does come with a smaller mobile base that's more for just installation purposes, to just kind of move it around a little bit. It's got smaller wheels, but they are lockable, and it's a nice sturdy base as well. It just doesn't have the big wheels like the dolly does, so if you're gonna be moving it around a lot, this is nice because the dolly has the handles and the larger wheels to go over rougher terrain. And wheels are a great thing to have when it comes to this, because not only is it a beast when it comes to power, it's a beast to move around, okay? You're looking at 186 pounds between the inverter and the battery. Now, obviously when you put the dolly with it or the mobile base, it's super easy to move around, but you definitely want to keep wheels under it. I'm gonna go over the installation in a few minutes, but let's go ahead and take a look at the Delta Pro Ultra and see what features it has right off the bat. Starting here on the top, you've got your USB-C ports, and you've got 2 of those, and those are 100 watts each. You have your USB-A ports, you have 2 of those as well. And in between here, you can turn your AC power on, your DC power on, and you can also adjust this in the app to, at least the AC, you can automatically turn that on. Once the system turns on, the AC will automatically come on. You've got 4 120 volt, 20 amp outlets. You've got a 120 volt, 30 amp outlet. And then here's kind of the big deal. You've got a split phase 120 or 240 volt, 30 amp port. The first 2 outlets are 20 millisecond uninterrupted power supply, and the next 2 20 amp and the 30 amp outlet, these are 0 millisecond uninterrupted power supply. Behind this door is the AC charging input. That's where you plug in your cord to charge it from an outlet in your home probably. A grounding screw, and this is the switch that you can use to change from fast to slow charging. You can also do that in the app. Now here's the low voltage PV port, and you can plug in up to 1600 watts of low voltage solar power in here. And then you have the Anderson port here at the top. Coming back over here to this door on the left side, this is where, it says 4G module. This is like a 4G dongle port. You can plug a 4G modem in and control the system from anywhere. Now that's not a necessity, that's just an extra Say you want to control your Delta Pro Ultra when you're on vacation by plugging in a 4G modem here, you could do that. But you already have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, so you know it's just a bonus if you want it, but not necessary. Starting here on the right side down at the bottom, you can see that each battery will have its own level indicator. You've got an overall indicator on the screen on the inverter, but each battery is going to have this. Up top here, you got your high PV port, and these doors are nice because they flip down and then they go in. They have like a nice, there's a magnet at the back that catches it. The high PV port, this has MC4 connectors, and it also has a hard switch, and that lets you plug in high voltage solar, so you can go up to 4,000 watts of solar. Here we've got power in out port. Now this is for transferring power to your house through the smart home panel, or you can use an adapter and charge the DPU with an electric vehicle charger like this one. Now this is sold separately, or this adapter that lets you charge with a gas generator. Now, I've already got it plugged in and I've already got the door open, but obviously this is where your battery connection is, and you can see down here below the battery connection on the battery. And one thing I gotta say, I like how these cables are nice and compact. There's no big loop that sticks out, so it keeps everything nice and tight and really clean. And these battery ports alternate, so when you stack your next battery below this one, you'll connect over here to daisy chain your batteries up. First test, table saw. Now this might not be what most people would use this for, but for me, if I was going to keep this thing mobile, this is probably exactly what I would use this for. Okay, no problem with that. Let's go bigger. Dust collector. Some folk call it a vacuum. Heat gun on high. Now this is something you might definitely plug in. How about a space heater? So I'm not running out of power, but I am running out of 120 volt outlets. So what I'm going to do is plug my chop saw into my dust collector, because the dust collector will kick on as soon as I use the chop saw, and we'll see what that does. I'm going to set my phone up here to monitor the display in real time whenever I use this. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut everything on, and then I'm going to use the chop saw. Power. Now, the vacuum's not going to cut on until the chop saw cuts on. So that'll actually be a really big power surge all at once. All right, finally did it. I don't even know what that went up to. Let me look on the phone here and see.
Obviously, I didn't get anywhere near the limit of what the DPU can do, and you've probably already figured out what I did wrong, and I will in a few minutes.
Ah, yes. A little something for the ladies. I'm kidding. Relax, I'm kidding. I'm gonna plug a vacuum into a vacuum. Heater. Heat gun. Let's turn the saw on last. Vacuum. and vacuum. I don't know if you noticed, but actually whenever I first turned the vacuum on, it didn't turn the dust collector on, so I went and turned that on and that got it up pretty good there. Okay, so hear me out. I brought the chop saw back out and I put the vacuum cleaner up because it dawned on me that probably what was happening was that the vacuum and the chop saw on the same outlet, I was drawing too many amps. So I'm plugging those now into an extension cord that I'm plugging into the 30 amp 120 240 outlet, and I'm gonna see if that makes a difference. Okay, so that's what that was earlier. I actually just went over too many amps on that one outlet. So we've got a heat gun, a space heater, a dust collector, a table saw, and a chop saw, all running at the same time. There's no way you're gonna run all that stuff at the same time, but this had no problem running it. Well, now this has me reconsidering my whole plan of installing this for a home backup. I'm kind of wanting to use it as my mobile power station for all my power tools because my breakers are always tripping on the house. This would power everything I need almost at the same time because I'm not gonna be using this stuff at the same time. Anyway, it's too late for that. Let's go back to the future. So I chose to install my Delta Pro Ultra. Well, actually, I had an electrician install it. The original plan was to install the panel in my attic since we have a ton of room up here and it provides easy access to run wires to where the breaker panel is downstairs. Now, I added some wood to mount the smart home panel too, and I also added another layer to the floor where the DPU would sit just to be safe. This attic is really well insulated so it never gets too hot or cold up here. Then I realized I'd have to come up here if I needed to flip a breaker off or back on, and I didn't want to do that, so I decided to install it in the laundry room. Installing the smart home panel 2 isn't really a DIY situation, so you need to have a licensed electrician do that. But I can tell you that the cost of installation for the smart home panel 2 and DPU is much less than the cost of installing a backup generator. I've checked, and that's why I never installed an automatic backup generator, because the installation was so expensive. If you don't want to install the smart home panel 2, you can still use the Delta Pro Ultra for backup power, and you can connect it through a manual transfer switch. And that will allow you to connect one stack of 5 batteries and an inverter. But if you want to connect 2 stacks, then what you'll need is the 50 amp hub from Ecoflow. And just like I said, you can plug in 2 stacks. So the Smart Home Panel 2 will allow you to connect up to 3 stacks of batteries and inverters. As you see, I'm just using the center connection, but I've got room for 2 more. Using the Smart Home Panel 2 will also give you that 20 millisecond switchover if the power goes out. It also maintains the Delta Pro Ultra at a set power level, and I'll kind of go over how that works in just a second. Another advantage of installing the Smart Home Panel 2 is that you can qualify for a 30% residential clean energy credit on your taxes. You can mount the panel a couple different ways, and we chose to inset it into the wall. And you can see here, I've still got to go back and trim this out to get that nice look in that cut. If this wall had been a 2x6 wall, it would have fit flush, but as it is, it sticks out just a little bit, but that's fine with me. It still looks super clean, especially once I get that trim put around the cutout. Now, since we chose to put it in the laundry room, as you can see here, it's a little bit in the way. So I'm actually gonna take this pantry cabinet out and I'll probably just put something that's an upper pantry, and that way I can slide these batteries over here. It's only 1 battery for now, but hopefully I'll add to that, but I can just move them over here. This section right here, the bottom of the panel where you plug everything in, this is detachable, and you can actually install this in another part of your house. So if you wanted the panel, like I have in the laundry room, but you don't have room for the DPU, you can detach that, and you could say put this part in your garage, and the electrician will just have to run the wires from this to the panel, and then you can keep your DPU in the garage and have plenty of room for your 3 stacks if you want 3 stacks. But as it is for us to keep it simple, we just chose to mount everything together. Obviously, I have the Delta Pro Ultra connected to the smart home panel too, but if you're wondering about your Delta Pro, will it connect to the smart home panel too? Yes, it will. You just will have to do a firmware update. You will need the Ecoflow app to work with the smart home panel too, and let me show you some of the cool features of what this will let you do. Things may look a little different on your version because I'm working with the beta version of the app, and in fact, I probably have different firmware on all of this than you're going to have whenever you order it. I'll go to the smart home panel and let's just go to circuits, and you can see the different circuits here that are running, how much power is being drawn off of each circuit. That's really cool. It kind of lets you know if you're trying to figure out how much solar power you would need, you'll be able to go into this app and see everything and see how much you're using in the moment. So far today, we've used 9.88 kilowatt hours, and I can go down here and I can see which circuits are pulling the most power. Circuit 6 is connected to circuit 8, and that is because back here in the box, 6 and 8 is the AC unit. So you can see that that has pulled 5.61 kilowatt hours today so far. What was our total consumption for yesterday? 9.85 kilowatt hours. You can see that today we're using more power than yesterday. We're already at 9.88 today, and we're only a little over halfway through the day. Okay, let's go to operating mode. This is where you can do things like for your savings mode, scheduled tasks. If you're on solar power, you're going to use this. You can determine how much of a backup reserve to use for your battery and how much to use. This can do things like save you money, like if the cost of power is more expensive during the day for you through your electric company, you can run off of your battery backup during the day and then charge those batteries at night while you're also using the grid. This is really cool because if there's severe weather forecast for your area within a 24-hour period, StormGuard will go ahead and make sure that all of your batteries are up to 100% so that the system is ready if the power goes out. EPS mode, I've got it on right now. That means that it's going to switch over if the power goes off within 20 milliseconds. I'm going to go to my backup battery system. If I turn that off, it's going to take a whopping 2 seconds. This really lets you find out where you're using your power. Honestly, the smart home panel too, the electrician was really impressed with it. I would say you could use that even if you didn't want a backup battery system. The smart home panel 2 by itself could be really useful to you as far as figuring out your energy consumption. The smart home panel 2 has a 10-year warranty, and the Delta Pro Ultra has a 5-year warranty. I want to show you how fast the smart home panel 2 switches the power to the Delta Pro Ultra after I cut the power. But first, let me show you what's in my panel. So I've got my grinder pump, kitchen receptacles, bathroom, bedroom, living room, kitchen, all of those lights. And then I have the inside and outside AC unit, refrigerator, and the tankless water heater. Now, obviously the tankless water heater is not running right now, but all the lights are on and the grinder pump is not on right now. But the refrigerator's on. So I'm gonna set this phone right here so that it can record the light, because I want you to see how fast this is. Let me hit record. Okay, now I'm gonna come over here to the panel and I'm gonna switch. This is, you see it says grid right here. So I'm just gonna cut the power and we're gonna see how fast the power comes back on by watching that light. The AC is running. Here we go. Did you see that? Did you see that millisecond of a flicker? And let's see if the AC is still running. Is the AC still running? Oh, you can hear it. It's still running. Oh, I need to clean that vent. The AC is still running. That's fast. I'm pretty sure backup home generators don't switch over that fast. All right, I'm gonna turn the power back on. Grid power back on now. And obviously nothing's gonna change there, but there's nothing noticeable at all. And I'm gonna cut the power again. Here we go. I'm flipping the switch. Watch the light, watch the light. Super fast. Is the AC still running? Yeah, the AC is still running. That is crazy fast. And you can see right now, output, we're putting out 1500 watts. I have 49% battery left.
I'll put a link and code in the description valid from January 9th to February 9th so you can get an extra $1,000 off Delta Pro Ultra and related bundles. You can also get a free trolley worth $399 when you buy the Delta Pro Ultra, plus the smart home panel too for the first 300 orders, and get 6 months of interest-free payments, plus a 5-year installment plan offer.
So I've shown you that the Delta Pro Ultra can power a 3-ton AC, but what if you want AC that you can take with you, that's portable and also has heat? Well, check this video out right here and I'll show you what you're looking for, and I will see you next time.